And my legacy, I want to help as many small businesses affordably grow their companies. And not from you have to be in my products and these are the products that I offer A, B, C, D, E. Now, I want to be more of an advisory type person. I want to know your objective, your budget, your deadline, and what makes you different.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
And you've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Niki, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me today.
Before we jump into this, can you introduce yourself and your company name to the audience?
Yes. My name is Niki Dealey. I'm the owner of Dealey Media International.com. And we're located in Dallas, Texas.
And you service customers in Dallas or nationwide?
Nationwide, international too. We have clients overseas as well.
Wonderful. I can go way deep into AI, and you would be the first female that I've talked to about AI.
Okay.
And you have an AI marketing solution?
Yes, we do.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, we actually have a couple of them. So I've been in this industry for over 15 years. I'm self-taught, so I didn't go to school for this, but it's a story that I was actually trying to help some orphans, and that's how I landed on this business.
Wow.
But nevertheless, I've been fascinated, and I lived in Southern California, so very progressive over there before I moved to Dallas and before I moved here to San Antonio. But so I have been fascinated by staying on the cutting edge of what's coming out. So 3D and all this other stuff, I was on the cutting edge because I lived in California, and my mentors, I'm a big fan of be around people that are making the kind of money or moving in that direction that you want to serve small businesses. And we serve small businesses affordably. What I mean by that is like a website is still $5,000. We're not charging $20,000, $25,000 and all that stuff.
Right.
We could, but I just don't. That's not who I want to target. And so I ended up not knowing how to code, but knowing how to process how things need to work on softwares. And so we went into the AI business. We were one of the first companies that did geo-targeting with our own software. We also have an AI bot. So, right now, landing pages on a mobile phone don't come out the way they're supposed to on a desktop because it's below the fold, right? We just created another one during COVID. We actually have a proprietary software that has a lot of AI behind it so that we can help increase revenues and lower expenses for small businesses. And that's going really well because a lot of small businesses will get the coupons and put it in the mailers. Well, they can eliminate that and basically get customers on demand using our dashboard.
That is pretty cool. Little, so let's just use the pizza shop, right? They're huge for the daily mailers, right? The value packs and all those things. You're saying they can stop doing that activity?
Yes, because we can do it through push notifications, right?
Right.
And we can do it through loyalty programs. We can do it. And then we also have the geo-targeting on our software. And I think we're the only company that can do that for small businesses on your phone using our dashboard.
And I'm familiar with geofencing or geo-targeting through an app called Waze, right? Okay. And I've helped gyms and restaurants, as somebody's driving by in traffic, they'll get a coupon if they use the Waze app for a business that they can literally see from their car at that moment, right? And it works really, really well for that on-demand service provider in a brick and mortar business, right? Mm-hmm. So how is what you've done different than going into Waze and buying ads inside the Waze app geo-targeted versus what you're doing?
Because we own our own software and we don't have a cost that we pass on to our businesses. It goes in the software behind the dashboard. We own it. So we don't have, since I own it, I don't have to, or you don't need a beacon or any of that stuff.
Right. So you have an all-inclusive marketing strategy for the brick and mortar store owner. And I'm assuming that's generally the service provider or.
Well, yeah, it could also be a professional coach, somebody who's doing coaching,
right,
consulting. But I mean, the restaurant industry is a perfect example because we all go to restaurants.
Yes.
And they were hit really hard during COVID and even post-COVID and with inflation. So if we want to give an example of what that AI software and geofencing, we could just stick to, as an example, for time's sake, we could just talk about restaurants because we all go to them.
Absolutely. I like to use the pizza place because they kind of encompass a bunch of different kind of businesses. It's a restaurant, It's a delivery service. It's, and their industry is changing drastically right now with, because, they were the only, them and Chinese food were like the two staples of delivery. And now Uber Eats, or they're kind of.
Yes, but then that eats into their revenues. So when they use our software, they don't need to. And another thing too is we only partner with one pizza place in a geographic area, obviously, because of the geo-targeting.
Right.
So if two pizza places want to come to us in the same location, it's first come, first serve. We don't compete with one another because of that technology. We want to give the best bang for the buck for our clients.
And what you just said is that you're not going to niche down in a geographical area. You're actually going to provide exclusivity as a marketing agent. But a lot of marketing gurus out there in the world today, or even the marketing gurus that sell to marketing agencies, and which I'm more familiar with them than anybody, will tell you the riches is in the niches. But for you, your niche is your service and how you service it, not necessarily the clients that you serve.
Yes. And then we're affordable. So for example, when we do mobile apps, and for what we offer, it should be over 50 grand. Do you want to know our price?
I would love to.
7 right now.
7,000. Okay. And that's cradle to grave, whole application done?
Everything, and on both Apple and Google, because there are two sets of platforms. So we have to code two different websites basically for a mobile device. So it's like $3,500 a piece.
Yeah.
So it's very affordable, but that's because I invest in our own technology myself. But I've been doing this for over 15 years, so I can afford to invest in our technology and then pass it on to our client.
And app development can go across the board, right? But you're looking at a minimum, very minimum, just to get them published is $1,000. That's if you're using, app like Appy Pie, which I'm pretty technical. That is clunky. It is not simple to build an app inside these drag and drop app builders. It is.
When Google or Apple, especially Apple, they're the ones that always change the dev criteria regularly.
Right.
So when they change the criteria, by the time that these, drag and drop app builders actually catch up, well, the app is no longer working, or it can get pulled off, or they rank it lower because there's not enough downloads. And we even help our clients with marketing as part of our service, and we don't charge them extra for that. So, for example, a restaurant, we're thinking about the pizza place, right?
Right.
We could say, okay, Ken, now is the time to start doing a contest with your clients and say, hey, we're coming out with something big in the next 60, 90 days. If you guess it right for every time that you come visit us, okay, because we want people to come in, then we will give a free family dinner for 4 and stuff if you guess right. I mean, it's only one winner, right? So how much does it really cost them? And then when it comes out, that hopefully they have the QR code and the servers are pushing it, and there we go.
Helping small businesses not only get the technology that they need to really grow and prosper in today's world, but giving them concepts and ideas on how to execute on them, which affordably, which is so helpful today. I see everybody, buy my thing. And, but you got to execute it on your own. Good luck, right? There's no strategy behind the stuff. So I think it's really cool that not only are you coming to the business owner with technology, you're coming with ideas, similar to like a franchisor would do or should do for their franchisees, right? Not all franchisors are created equal.
Yeah. And mainly because I started out as a small business person and I didn't have any background in business. I mean, I had to learn the hard way. Right. I failed and succeeded. And, but I did join a mastermind group and that was the best decision I've made.
I love it. Small business, brick and mortar I absolutely love it. It's hard. It's a hard life. I own a small boxing gym, right? Me and my wife do, and we love it to death. It pays the bills and it's a little extra cash, but it's not. I'm sure people in the community think it makes a whole lot more than it actually does after all the expenses go out. So helping that group of people is very, very special to me. Which is, I mean, Clicks and Bricks is all about helping that small business owner overcome something or become a small business owner. So thank you for doing that for the world and the community.
Yeah, because we both started that way, right?
Yes.
And so for me, I'm grateful. And so if I can pay it forward, then that would be great. But yeah, especially in AI, I can't tell you how many people want to buy our division of AI. And I'm like, nope.
Right. Yours.
No.
Absolutely. Okay. So you've been in this gig for a while in the IT industry, internet marketing, all of those things. Have you always been an entrepreneur or was there a transition moment for you?
Well, no, I went to college.
Okay.
And, mainly for my mother and daddy. And I wasn't stimulated enough. My grandfather was an entrepreneur and he always took me on Saturdays in his truck and he taught me a lot of wonderful lessons, Ken. And I just thought, you know what? I'm being pulled over here for the entrepreneurial bug instead of my dad. He was in the military, which I highly, highly respect. And then he went to work for FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, and he climbed the ladder. And I was very happy for him. And I respected what he wanted to do for our family. But, his idea of success was go to school, get a job, work there forever, get a pension, retire, get the gold watch and the little party. And that just wasn't me. So after working through, I think probably I was 25 when I first started my first business, and mainly because I sat around with some other successful business owners. And every day from Monday through Friday, we would go to somebody's office and drink scotch. I learned how to drink scotch. It was a little, oh my gosh, this is really strong. So I was a wuss. I had to drink scotch and water. And now I just drink scotch if I do drink scotch. I'm not a big drinker, but still. But I was fascinated because everybody came to the table or to the office and we were talking about business and resources and problems. And this person had this experience and, oh, you need to call this person. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is fascinating. And I didn't understand that was the concept of Think and Grow Rich, right?
Exactly. Having
a mastermind. And at 25, when I finally figured out what this group was all about, I started to join my first mastermind. And since I was 25, I have been in a mastermind group this whole time.
Wonderful.
Yes. And I think I belong to the best one now because so many of them tend to be more like networking opportunities or they're not really interested in building the company. But my friend, Mark Victor Hansen, the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, told me about Dealey's Advisory Council in Dallas. I was living in Southern California. When he told me I had to fly to Dallas, I laughed at him because I was like, why would I fly to Dallas when I live in Southern California? I mean, LA's up the road. I could possibly find something here. We're more progressive. But I listened to him because I respected him. And now I know. So I've been in that group for 16 years. They have 100% success rate in growing your company.
Wow.
So that's why I believe I'm in the right one. So we have the gentleman who started Foster Grant Sunglasses. He's in my group.
Wow.
The gentleman who was the Secretary of Education under President Reagan, he's in my group. So, I mean, I'm around some nice, seasoned business owners that are mentoring me as well. And they have 100% success rate. And I'm one of those people.
Wonderful. So, and for the audience that doesn't know what a mastermind is, and I think right now, I'm in 4 mastermind groups, which is too many by far, but it's basically a group of like-minded business professionals that get together and hold each other accountable for, or share ideas to help everybody move forward. Is that?
Yeah. It's an informal board of directors, and there's 2 types. There's one that's industry specific. So I belong to one that's just industry specific. Right. In the digital marketing space. The one in Dallas that has 100% success rate, Dealey's Advisory Council, we have one profession only around the table, which I think it's even more rich that way, because when you're out of the industry, you can now look in without these myopic ideas of, well, this has to work or this doesn't work. And I get more out of it that way.
Right. I have found them to be way more effective than the BNIs, your local BNI groups. Yeah. It's the same similar concept, but it just feels like I have more in common with the mastermind groups.
Yeah. So I know Ivan Meisner and his wife.
Okay.
And it serves a purpose, I think, for what I call a onesie, if you're just a single person, but they're not really there to grow your company like a mastermind is.
Right. Wonderful. Okay. So got your company today, you're running it, everything's great. But before we started the show, you told me that you were kind of in a season of loss in your life. You had kind of taken a backseat to the media. And I think it's important for people to know that regardless of how they're looking in on other people's lives through a window, and it's not always the picture that they see. And right. And you had some struggles, and you're coming out of that back into the light, which is amazing. But can you share your story of loss and hopefully some tips on how you overcame it to get back into the driver's seat and really drive your company back into success or continued success?
Okay, so I was flying like a kite prior to this season of loss that I call it. But because of some family issues with his children or my stepchildren being estranged, he went into major depression. So what that meant was they both got married, didn't invite him, or one of them, his daughter asked him not to attend, and it just broke his heart. So he spiraled downwards in depression. Because I took a vow and a covenant seriously in my marriage, I had to shore up his company and be there for him. We went through all kinds of doctors, and he tried to commit suicide twice. It's called suicidal ideation. So we went through that twice, once with a box cutter. He cut his neck, but the box cutter was not sharp enough, so it didn't go deep enough. And I was in New York at the time, so I had to fly back home. We got him out, and then he actually took his car and drove north of Dallas and intentionally drove underneath an 18-wheeler, hoping to decapitate himself. When that didn't happen, he took a shard of the windshield glass and tried to cut his neck again. And at that point, I knew this is serious stuff. I've never been around people that were that depressed or tried to kill themselves. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand that they must be so distraught that it's easier to take their life than to keep their life. And he did get better, but prior to him being released, we were told that there was a couple of resources in North Dallas or the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Frisco. Although in San Antonio, there was multiple options because San Antonio is a military town. They're known for the military to be retired there, Ken. And so I chose San Antonio, and I had 2 weeks to get an apartment, get everything ready. We still had our house in Dallas, but I also chose San Antonio because my family lives there. And I knew I could get the support to take care of the dog, or if I needed somebody to pick up groceries. But nevertheless, he was suffering so bad, and the estrangement with his mother got worse. And so he actually took his life. Three is a charm, I guess. When that happened, I was in shock, obviously. You feel a lot of guilt, like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Your life changes in 24 hours without your contribution of being part of the decision. And you're grieving. I was also the last to be with them. So there was an investigation. I was the sole suspect. So I had to get another attorney, planning a memorial service. It was just a mess. It was absolutely a mess. And so I decided to stay in San Antonio because nobody knew me. In Dallas, our family is very well known. John Carpenter Freeway. My husband's name was John Carpenter Dealey. The Cockrells was his mother's maiden name. There's Cockrell Hill. So I lived in a fishbowl in Dallas. I love Dallas. I still go there. My company is still there, but I had to take a seat back and take care of myself as well. And I wanted to know what just happened. What is suicide? What is depression? What could I learn from it? And I felt all along. One, I'm not going to be shamed that my husband took his life. Number two, I'm going to learn a lot about it because I'm going to be open about it in case I'm used in some way to help somebody else not go through the pain that I did. And I was also going to use that to help me heal. You asked me like what helped me. One is my family. My family is the most supportive family I have ever had. They were always there for me, and my faith, because I'm a Christian, and so I prayed a lot, and I went to some support groups at my church. I went through Grief Share. That was awesome because I realized that we all grieve differently. And then my mastermind group, Dealey's Advisory Council, that was the only thing that didn't change within 24 hours. My members there, my co-members, were there to support me. They were there to help me with business because they had known about my business. I'd been a member for so long. A lot of them came alongside me and did things inside my business. They weren't even part of it. And that's why I think our group is just so different because it's not just business. We're a family. But it was tough because I'm now not only trying to juggle my company that was growing and coasting, but now I have to take care of his company. I'm moving from Dallas to San Antonio and grieving and Right. But, and what I did was I would eat for emotional reasons. So I ballooned. I've now lost 75 pounds and I'm still counting.
Congratulations.
30 more. Thank you. I've got 30 more to go. And it's a joy because now I've come out from the grief. I met a total stranger at a board meeting. I was sitting on a board and it turns out that her sister was run over by one of her brothers. And there was a specialized trauma type of therapy that her family went through, and she told me about it, and they had it in Dallas, and I went through it too. So much so that my therapist said, okay, Nikki, you're done. You don't need to be here anymore. So I like that. And so I feel very blessed that I had this wonderful marriage and this idyllic life, but it taught me perseverance. It taught me there's some really nice people out there that are completely strangers that love on others. You hear a lot on the news, bad, bad, bad. No. There's a lot of great Americans here that are complete strangers. Right. And I persevered.
Congratulations. That's an amazing story on the comeback. I'm sorry that you had to go through that trauma in your life, and three attempts from a loved one has got to just be really, really extremely stressful. On the recovering, it sounds like community was a huge part for you. And I can't agree with that more. There's a couple therapies that I really lean on really, really hard in my life. And I'm not going to talk about all of them, but the two that, other than community and having mentors and people around you and family, I have found a huge amount of help with breathing exercises, so much that I'm becoming a certified breathing coach right now in my existence. And the other one for me is a weird therapy called EMDR, which completely helped me with a ton of different things. As business owners, we go through trauma a lot, right? We don't even know that we're going through trauma sometimes because we're just dealing with, especially when you're starting, right? You've got, how am I going to cover payroll? I need another client. And I just lost a client. And all of those things are hard on top of everything else you have in life. So congratulations for coming out on the other side of this tunnel. It is wildly challenging. I can't imagine what it would be like to lose my wife. It would be devastating. And so it's really hard. Your husband made a choice, unfortunately a fatal one that he can't recover from. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of a business owner from a very unique perspective, rolling one down and trying to grow another one, the importance of self-care as an entrepreneur, and how, at the end of the day, how selfish it is to go to the bar after work and do that happy hour a little longer than you should, or blow off your day to really, just do the bad things that we do to our bodies to help deal with the stress.
Or be angry for something you can't control.
Right.
So in my support group, I learned during Grief Share how many people that were sitting there after the video that were angry. I mean, they were even angry at God or family members or even at themselves, the guilt. And I can understand that. But early on, because I sat there and I saw how destructive those decisions were, it helped me. Like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. So even though I was in a group setting, it allowed me to make a choice because they were spiraling downwards, just like their loved ones. And I didn't want to go there. So self-care for me was essential because I knew that if I was going to get out of this, the only way I could do it is if I took care of Niki. And no one was going to take care of Niki the way Niki could and would need to decide every single day. And then I'm really big at milestones. So if I got up, I got dressed, showered, brushed my teeth, walked my dog, and had breakfast, that was huge. Like, I would go and do something for myself. So I would go shopping, or I would go for a walk, or I would go buy something just for me because I did that. And then it became, okay, well, if I did that for a whole week, woo! I mean, Ed McMahon showed up at my door, figuratively.
Right.
And so I would just show myself grace and just do a little bit more. And sometimes, guess what? I took 3 steps back. It was just part of the process. But then I found myself, oh, well, Niki, you're going forward more and forward more. And I learned that, which is one of the reasons why I decided to lose my weight, because my health was being affected. I was getting overly stressed just because of how I felt with my weight. But I didn't want to do the Nutrisystem and Slim Fast, none of that. Not that it's bad. I wanted it to be a lifestyle. I wanted it to be wherever I traveled, I could go to a restaurant or go to the groceries and pick live food and learn how to cook, learn the portions so that I could get better.
Right. It's huge. And the American diet is a very poisonous diet. It's probably the least mean way you could describe it, right? It's not good for you. You know, we live in such a weird place to where destroying your body is celebrated for some reason. And it's not good. And I think we have to change that narrative, and stories like yours can help hopefully do that. Right. I mean, I know that for me, happy hours after work have always been a struggle. If you don't want to drink, it's really hard to do. And in the business world, it's kind of weird if you don't drink and you get talked to in a weird way about it. So having champions for health and wellness inside the entrepreneurial world, I think, is really, really important. And you're doing that with you and your staff and whoever you talk to. I'm sure that you shine that light as bright as you can wherever you go. So
thanks. I hope so.
If somebody wanted to work with you and your team and learn more about you, how would they do that?
Well, first, I would be honored because my whole objective is to help small businesses. I don't have children of my own, and I had to put my dog down a couple of months ago. So it's just me and my legacy. I want to help as many small businesses affordably grow their companies, and not from you have to be in my products and these are the products that I offer A, B, C, D, E. Now, I want to be more of an advisory type person. I want to know your objective, your budget, your deadline, and what makes you different, and then put something together for you. So it's not one size fits all for us. What I'd like to do is have them go to Dealey Media International. Dealey is Dealey, Media International, spelled out.com. And then is it okay if I offer something?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I should have asked ahead of time.
That's okay.
But we talked about this proprietary software that can reduce the expenses and increase revenues. It's actually guaranteed. And we have had phenomenal success with that. We can eliminate those coupons that you were mentioning, like for restaurants, or if you're a consultant, a gym owner, whatever. So I would say that if they send an email directly to my executive assistant, and then the subject line, they put Clicks and Bricks, and the email is Irish, like the country, at DealeyMediaInternational.com, I will give them $2,000 off of that software.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's
right
huge.
Off the bat. Yeah.
Wow. All right. And we will throw all of that information at the bottom here. And so that if you want to take advantage of that offer, you absolutely can and should. And this is your, what part of the software are you offering?
Well, the whole strategy.
The whole suite.
Everything.
Okay.
Whole
Wonderful.
Suite.
$2,000 off entire marketing strategy for your small business. And you've already talked about the general prices are already really affordable and designed for the small business owner in mind, right? So this isn't a situation. I mean, if anybody's ever gone out into the marketplace looking to have an app built for them, the price is starting at $65 and you'll never get it accomplished, all the way up to $650,000, right? And every number in between. So it gets really crazy really fast. So knowing that you have a partner that you can trust, someone that's done it before and is going to continue doing it, is very, very important, and at a price that is really hard to beat.
Yeah, we have our purely custom apps, and they start at probably $150,000 and go up. Right. We did one last year for one of my best guy friends, so I gave him a discount, and it was still over $250,000. Right. But it had a lot of moving parts and databases, and he changed an industry with it, but he trusted us to handle it.
Wonderful. That is very, very exciting. And disruptive technology on top of that.
Yes.
All
yes.
Right.
He's very happy.
In the small business world, there's everything from the solopreneur all the way up to, I guess under 5 employees is the micro company, right? And then 5 and up at 5 to 49, I think, is small business, somewhere in there. I don't really know the small business definition. What kind of company do you like fits you the best? Where you like, if this company walks in our door tomorrow, we're going to blow their socks off, right? Because we've done it for these 10 other kinds of companies in that boat.
My answer is going to be, you're probably going to laugh, but I want to deal with people that worked for another digital marketer and didn't get their results that they were expecting.
Okay. So you've already been down the path of, I've gone down this path. And if you've worked with digital marketing, and I've worked with a lot of them, I am one myself. I use other people's services, and I also service clients. They're all over the board. Mm-hmm. Like, not even some of the most reputable can do a great job. They can do a bad job. It's all across the board. So if you've worked with somebody, you've got some expertise. You're not going in with too, I guess, rosy glasses.
And so, but for whatever reason, and I find that a lot of digital marketers are just myopic. They want you to do what they know how to do only, and they want to fit you there. Well, if my business doesn't fit there, like, for example, I mean, if I wear an XL in clothing, well, some of us have more hips than others. Some of us have a smaller waist than others. And some of us have a shorter torso, but we all still wear XL. So why would we then just put your business, that's your baby, into right here to what only I offer? Whereas we do the opposite. So if I don't need to educate you, and if I listen to you and really find out what's the problem, what are you really trying to do? Because I also know in our industry that, the flavor of the month changes all the time, right?
Yeah. Instagram, TikTok, doesn't matter, right? Always.
Yeah. Right. Well, so for example, if you have a certain service, let's say you're a consultant, okay? Well, you're not necessarily going to find your ideal client on TikTok. You probably have a better option to go onto Instagram or onto LinkedIn, because that's where your ideal clients are. So if I'm just saying, oh, you got to be on Facebook, well, why would you be on Facebook when your ideal client may not be there? If you're a dog sitter, however, you might find your ideal client on Facebook. So I think that's where we differ, is if you have had a bad experience, especially, then I want to talk to you. or if you really want to grow your company and you're serious about it.
Right. Wonderful. Niki, thank you so much for your time today. If somebody's out there and they're wanting to become, start their first business, and they're just on the fence for some reason and they can't seem to get off the fence, do you have any advice that you would give that person to help them move forward?
Yes. Let me give a short story. Reebok was about to overtake Nike. I don't know if you know this story, but Nike was going to go down, and then they hired a branding expert. And what did they do? They came out with the black background with white letters with the swoosh and the tagline, "Just do it." That saved Nike. So even though Nike was going to be gobbled up from Reebok, those words, "just do it," because you and I talked about that, the graveyards were full of people that had lost dreams. Don't be one of them, because I feel like we all have talents and abilities that we're supposed to use for others or to benefit others and even ourselves and our family. So get part of a mastermind group, get around some mentors, but just do it.
Absolutely. And there's a book called Hook Point that just came out, I think about a year ago, that talks about phrases like "just do it," right? And how important they are, and hook points, that they can absolutely change. A hook point can change the world, not just a company, right? So
yes,
just keep moving forward, start building. If you've got a dream, work on it, small steps at a time, just like you when you were in mourning. and you celebrated getting out of the bed and brushing your teeth. Celebrate every stupid little piece along the way. Every victory you have, celebrate it and get used to that, because if you just keep working towards your goal, you're going to get somewhere, right? You're going to get further than you are today. And if you don't envision where you're going to be in 5 years from now, 5 years, you'll be right where you're at today. So start working. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Niki. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
You have a great day.
You too.
That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.